क्योंकि I'm a mother, so I understand the anxieties of a mother completely. I'm a big consumer of my own products. I just thought, let me take the plunge, let me back myself. If it's a risk, it's a risk, but at least, I won't be living in regret later on. So, yeah, that's what I did.
Hi everyone,
Awesome.
my name is Tanu Ganguly. I'm the founder of Mishry Reviews, and today I'm joined by another woman founder. And I'm excited to chat with her about the brand she's building, her mindset, and frankly, what keeps her going in building a healthy snacking brand in what's a very, very cluttered and very busy category. Parul, welcome to Fried and Tasted.
Hi, hi. Thank you, Tanu, for having me here.
So, first things first, when we were reviewing Gladful on Mishri, the first thing I noticed was what a happy looking product you've come up with, right? Of course, the name is Gladful, but the colors are so vibrant, the oranges, blues. What was the thought behind that? Like how did you come up with Gladful, the name, and then of course, the colors and the palette.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. And that's true. That's something that a lot of people have noticed. So when we were conceptualizing Gladful, I was half entrepreneur and half mother there. And I did not only want to talk about the product at the end of the day. What I wanted the name to stand for would be an emotion that the mother goes through when she really gives a nice, nutritious, healthy, tasty snack to the child. There's a feeling that the mother is left with. It's a feeling of deep satisfaction, and
Hmm.
I wanted the name to convey that feeling. And I don't know how successful we are, but I think whoever's picking the product, tasting it, trying it, they go through a similar kind of feeling when they witness the child enjoying the snack, which is great, it's delightful, and it's nutritious at the same time. So that's why we believe Gladful as a name is befitting. And of course, we wanted us to be playful, vibrant, and a part of everyday joyful moments, and which is why the entire brand is extremely bright and vibrant.
Hmm.
People would love to enjoy Gladful in moments which they are happy, or moments which are going to make them happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we stand for.
But why protein as an entry point?
So, Tanu, first of all, I must say that I personally went through something which made me read up a lot about protein. So, I've spent about 14, 15 years in the foods industry before this,
Hmm.
building brands such as Dairy Milk and Five Star in the past. And I've deeply worked with the consumers, which are kids and their mothers as well. And when I personally realized after a doctor's appointment and a few tests that my child is deficient in protein, I was in for a little bit of a rude shock, as well as I was embarrassed. That despite being in the industry, I didn't know too much about it. I never thought of building solutions regarding it. As I read, I realized that the entire protein consumption is ridden with a lot of myths in the country. 83% of Indians are deficient in protein. 73% Indians in urban India are deficient.
Yeah.
And growing kids between the age of 9 and 15, 60% of them are deficient. So imagine the level of deficiency that our country has. But the
Yeah.
moment you talk about protein in say a drawing room setting or with a few friends, they will say a few things like number one, protein will lead to weight gain, it will lead to digestive issues. It is there, it is only for bodybuilders.
Hmm.
So I thought it was an entry point where nobody was really talking about solutions for families. The solutions that you see in the market today, say protein bars or shakes, etc., they're for a very specific audience which is very health committed, going to the gym very regularly, and also very aware.
And
But what
yeah,
happens to the large masses, right? Like
already
you need
converted.
products.
There are products
Absolutely.
out there for the ones who are already converted. But what about,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And to add to actually your larger point of just the amount and the scale of this protein deficiency, we mostly just end up viewing it from a vegetarian, non-vegetarian lens, right?
Correct.
So the
Correct.
assumption is that vegetarians to come vegetarian come protein khate hain. And
Correct.
so bas add paneer to your diet. Uh,
Absolutely.
I think there's no
So even non-vegetarians, Tanu,
even
I mean,
correct.
ours is a very, very carb-heavy diet. Mothers believe that, हफ्ते में 3 बार पनीर खा लिया या फिर दाल एक कटोरी रोज खा लिया. So that's enough protein. What they don't know is in whole, you have masala, you have tomato, you've got water. So actual quantum of protein is 3 to 4 grams, which is nothing. So I think as a culture we don't have as much protein, and that's why even our snacking needs to be a lot more meaningful. I mean, snacking just for taste, snacking just which are empty calories, which satiate you in that particular moment, but they don't give anything back to you, is
Mm.
I think meaningless. And which is why we thought protein and snacking together will be a great entry point for us to build protein in everyday lives.
Right, right. And of course, that's the demand side of it, right? There are millions and millions of us who are deficient in protein one way or the other. But did you also in your research find that there was a huge market gap in this to build a business around it?
When we studied the protein market and when we studied the snacking market, both of them in a way were super cluttered. There are tons of new brands which are stepping into the protein market with protein bars, shakes, supplies, all of that. And snacking itself, like it is a cluttered market, right? Like every state, every little tehsil will have their different snack. Plus, there is a packaged snack market which is well established. But specifically, Tanu, if you look at protein for kids, there are no brands which are talking about this challenge.
Mm,
And it is not an easy market to crack because, along with giving products, you have to really do a lot of education and myth breaking. And
mm,
how do you do that? You can't be a preachy brand if you're a snacking brand. How do you do that in an interesting way? Do you use your packaging well? Do you give little snippets of information on an everyday basis? Do you build communities around it? So that's a big challenge. So
mm.
we decided to take that head on. And I think there's nobody who can understand the needs of their family but mothers. So we started talking to mothers for their kids. And we believe that these young adults, if they adopt the right habits when they're age 7, 8, or 9, the good habits will continue through their lifetime.
True, true. So it's interesting how a lot of what we end up building and end up making is from our own experiences, right? For example, our community of Mishry mums, taking from your point, the reason we made this community of mothers first was because as a mother, there is a certain discernment that comes into your choices. No matter how careful you've been of your choices or carefree of your choices, as soon as there's a little one who's dependent on you for everything, you tend to be that much more careful. Your research will be a little bit more than it used to be. Your recommendations will be sought from people who you trust a little bit more. So, in that sense, I think this mum to mum conversation is always something which is it's always two ways, right? You can
Yeah,
learn and
yeah,
give also a lot. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, just I agree to that, Tanu, 100%. Because before launching the product,
Mm.
we would have spoken to at least 300 moms. They would have tasted our products, given feedback on the form factor, on the
Hmm.
size, on how to stock it. I
Tell
mean,
us about that.
imagine we.
I really like the bite-sized, the size. It's just so easy for a kid. Imagine that in a kid's hands, and it's perfect. The size and the form
Yeah,
factor. Yeah. Tell us about that.
yeah. So, a lot of great feedback. First of all, I must say that I mean the WhatsApp groups and the community were very helpful in giving us feedback. So, and they also, I mean, they gave their time because they saw value in the overall concept of having an easy to eat protein snack, right?
Mm.
Mothers too are super involved. They're conscious about everyone's needs in the family. They're also conscious about the budget. They're also conscious about the taste palettes. So, I mean, the kind of feedback that you can get from them is immense and it's fantastic. So, when we went about our journey of creating the product, they gave us feedback on things such as the size. So, they said, you know what, when initially we made large cookies, Tanu, large protein cookies, and we did not want to put maida, so we put whole wheat. And they said, "Hey, listen, if they have such a large bite, number one, it's going to get a little crumbly, some crumbs will fall off, and I'm not comfortable with that in school. And
Mm.
secondly, we why don't you reduce the size a little bit so that even if they're having a bite, they don't feel too much fiber.
Mm.
It's just a little pop of protein, and we found that is a fantastic idea. The second was like, at that point in time, the schools were opening, then shutting, and the mothers weren't too sure about, when the schools would open up. And we launched in December last year, right? The packaging, I mean, they said, Ki, why don't you design something for the dining table? So our packaging is designed for the dining table first. The
Oh,
in-home consumption will be great. And once they get onto this habit of consuming it every day, the jar is sitting on the dining table, they're popping in every day, it'll be easy for them to take it in school later on. So
yeah.
this kind of fabulous feedback came from the mothers.
So you're a brand that was launched pretty much during, the pandemic
Oh,
season,
yes.
right? That must have been tough. I can't imagine. Just launching it would have been a series of hurdles, that you and your team have tried to overcome. But now, what are the plans? Now you're launched. You also launched another product recently, the Chila Mix. So what are the plans now? How's Gladful going to go along over the next few years?
Yeah, the journey has been very interesting. I quit my job during the pandemic, a job from a company which loved me equally back. So there was a lot of furore at home on why am I taking this risk. My co-founder is my younger brother,
Oh,
who also quit his job. So you can imagine the conversations in the family that two people during the pandemic are quitting jobs to start their own business. How crazy does it really sound? But yeah, I mean, I think we were both very passionate about this.
mm,
And like you just said, we also launched a protein breakfast category very, very recently. So we are going to stay on the path, Tanu. Our
mm,
intent is to make protein easy for mothers to give to their children.
mm, mm,
While today, even today, we know that 50% of the consumption is not happening with kids. A
mm,
lot of adults are consuming it. A lot of mothers are also giving it to their grandparents, in-laws, mothers, parents. So for everyone in the family, protein is going to become easier.
mm.
But when we design our products, we keep the tiffin, we keep the 8 to 14-year-old in mind, because he or she have to tick the box before we really expand our category, right? The second thing that we definitely keep in mind is how convenient it is to the mother. So, for example, when we designed our dosa chila mixes, we kept in mind the fact that number one, each dosa or chila will give approximately 8 grams of protein in one serve. Two, we know that mothers today are super busy. Sprouting is not easy.
Yeah.
And if you give her a ready-made sprouted germinated solution of a mixture, then she can actually make sure that sprouts are a day of her child's life every day, even
Yeah.
her own life, right? So in a way, the convenience of a mother is also the second factor for us. Yeah. And the third is, we are unlike the big brands. We are not doing lip service when it comes to fiber and protein.
Mm, mm,
So we take our serve size very, very seriously.
mm,
Our intent is to make sure that every serve that we gives at least 4 to 5 grams of protein,
mm.
and not just 1-2 gram. मतलब बहुत सारे brands हैं जो बस lip service कर देते हैं इसके ऊपर. So this is something we take very seriously.
It's 2022, and I want to ask you, how is it like to be a woman founder in India?
Well, frankly, I mean, Tanu, frankly, honest opinion, I have not really felt that I have been disadvantaged in any way.
Great.
Yeah. I found, all opportunities open to me. People I reached out to, they responded to me. So, I mean, at least the response rate was similar. I think everyone, men or women, got similar level of rejections or acceptances both. So
True.
I did not find too much of a difference.
Mm,
I do, however, in conversations, I do feel that there is no active need to pick a man over a woman by anyone, whether it's an investor, whether it's a stakeholder, whether it's a partner you want to do business with. But I think people are more comfortable. So if there are more men on the other side, they're more comfortable with men.
mm.
So I do see there's some conversations where the questions would be asked to my co-founder, who happens to be my brother and is 10 years younger to me and less experienced as well, right? So they would direct the question to him rather than me.
Yeah.
So I found those instances, a few of them. But as far as the opportunity in the VC world, or for that matter, even trade partners, etc., I did not find a big difference out there.
Great. In fact, things are changing, So the biases that we talk about now, at least, I mean, let's just say that we are more privileged than a whole lot of other women or women who are running their own businesses across the country. But those biases come across in these incidents, and I resonate with
True.
that. a lot of this conversation, if it's about technology, if it's about finance, subjects which are perceived to be only can be handled by men, those are ones that
Yeah. So थोड़ा सा head on लेना पड़ता है unfortunately females को, but वो कम हो रहा है. That's a good part. That's a good part.
But how did you take that plunge from a professional background, working with all these prestigious companies and doing this? What was that moment when you felt I want to do something of my own?
So, like I said, Tanu, I mean, as a person, I'm an entrepreneurial. As a person, even if I'm bit of a, sitting in a large setup, I would trust me to be the one who would come up with some new ideas, push for early and fast execution, and ask questions. So that's how I am as a person. Maybe I'm able to articulate it much better now. 5 years, 10 years back, I wasn't able to articulate it, but now I'm able to do that. So, after 14, 15 years in the packaged food industry, I just felt that there is nobody better than me who can take a plunge like this. But वही है कि I just thought that मुझसे better कोई profile हो नहीं सकता country में अगर किसी को ये करना है तो क्योंकि I'm a mother, so I understand the anxieties of a mother completely. I'm a big consumer of my own products. And secondly, मुझे जो industry experience है वो मैं apply कर सकती हूँ. So I just thought, let me take the plunge, let me back myself. If it's a risk, it's a risk, but at least, I won't be living in regret later on. So yeah, that's what I did.
I'm sure the knowledge around this, through brands, through written word, through videos, it's all going to go up. And I think consumers are extremely intelligent now, and they can discern, and they can tell a good product from one which is not so good. And we hope that as they become more and more informed, even the consumption will become that much more informed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And Tanu and Mishry team, I think you're doing a phenomenal job because what you're building as a community of mothers is not just impacting. I'm sorry for this.
No problem.
What you're building is not just impacting, certain products and brands, but is actually impacting the way households consume these days. And you're helping so many mothers make informed choices. So kudos to all of you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Parul. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. I'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.